situation, we can investigate the resources, and we can develop a plan. Because if you set a goal at nothing, it's for sure you're going to hit it every time. You see, we are African American, and the last 4 letters of that says who we are. It says, I can. And I'm suggesting that we must. If there's a hole, we must fill it. If there's an opportunity, we must take it. I am suggesting that we must. Because in life, you can strike out or you can hit a home but you have to be in the game.
All right now. All right.
To play the game. And once you learn to play the game, somebody comes along and moves all the bases. So we're reminded of one writer who said, if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. Because we have to shift the paradigm. Come out of a comfort zone and ensure that we move from the status quo, because the now of now says that our issues are so tremendous it does take more than a tweet to solve them. I need to get that. It takes more than a tweet to solve it. So we need women who are willing to lead. Women who are willing to lead. Why? Because leadership is not personality, it's performance. Leadership is not effort, it's results.
Right.
And leaders understand that good intentions will never suffice when a backbone is required. So if you think that you're leading and you look back and nobody's following,
all right,
perhaps you're just out for a walk.
All right.
Leaders listen and hear. Leaders are fluid in their leadership style because they are what? Those women who are inclusive. They are not my way or the highway. Leaders are very convinced that they know when to dial it up, when to dial it down, and when to dial it back. Leaders are risk takers. And in my books, I talk a lot about self-help and taking the bull by the horn and being willing to lead. Because women are risk takers. And you said, wait a minute, wait, Pat, wait. I'm not a risk taker. No, you're a risk taker. If not, you would not have gone off to school. If you weren't a risk taker, you wouldn't have gone from one side of town to the other side of town. And when at school, you wouldn't have picked a major. If you weren't a risk taker. If you weren't a risk taker, you wouldn't have walked up in the cafeteria and saw somebody who looked really good. And walked up to him and said, what's your name? Have I seen you before?
That's the line.
Risk taking is a part ingrained in our need and willingness to make the difference. Because when you look at leaders, they major in the major and not in the minor. They're solution-minded and they hold hostage problems and challenges and turn them into opportunities. So let there be no confusion. Leadership is not defined by position. It is not defined by a title, whether elected or appointed or perceived to be anointed. And the sooner we learn that, we can celebrate leadership. We get caught too often with the analysis that paralyzes us. We want to meet and have a meeting on the meeting. I am asking you that we as women have the track record of being bold and courageous, focused and intentional, because you see, there's always going to be a disagreement. There's always going to be a dissatisfaction. But I'm asking you as leaders to prepare to meet another person halfway. because we probably need the exercise. Love is not what makes the world go round. Love is what makes the ride worthwhile. And if you really, really want to help yourself, help somebody else. Because in the workplace, the stereotypes are legendary. I remember I was working, and I talk about this in the book, and I know that any of you who are entrepreneurs or any of you who go to work every day 9 to 5, you know that the isms are still alive and well. The sexism and the racism and the classism, and if you live long enough, the ageism. I have a friend the other day who turned 50, and I think she'll be 60 before she overcomes the shock. The isms. I was promoted and promoted and promoted on my job, and then one day I was chief. I was chief in charge of being in charge. And my senior attorney came to me and said I'd rather work for a black than work for a female.
Oh, man.
And I looked at him and said, and which one did you think was going to change? You have to know who you are. Because in the workplace, the isms remain. A man is dynamic. A woman is aggressive. He's good on details, but she's picky. He's a go-getter, but she's pushy. Everyone tiptoes around the office for him, but she's moody. He's confident, but she's stuck up. He has the courage of his convictions, but she is stubborn. He's humane, but she's emotional, and he's closed-mouthed, but she is secretive. And he runs a tight ship, but she is hard to work for because she doesn't know when to quit. So, we are those who disabuse the larger public of who women really are. One writer said, they take my kindness for weakness. They take my silence for speechless. Consider my uniqueness strange. They see my confidence as conceit and my mistakes as defeat. And they consider my success accidental. And they minimize my intelligence. So, it was Madeleine Albright, then Secretary of State, and she said that hell has a special place for women who do not help other women.
All right now. All right.
Women who do not help other women. The other day I was speaking and I was to speak on the 46th floor. So I was standing on the first floor and I was waiting and the elevator came down and I got on the elevator with my escorts and we went up to the 46th floor. All I'm saying that our responsibility relates to, it is a willingness to send the elevator back down.
All right.
There is a special place for women in hell that do not help other women.
All right now.
So, when we focus upon this day and the time of day that it is for us, I don't have the formula for success. But I do know that trying to please everybody, and that's everybody, will get you exactly nowhere. We need women who are empowered, and empowered is more than a buzz phrase. It's to be in a ready, set, go posture. In other words, we need women with a new attitude. With a new attitude. Now, somebody should write a book about it. I did. Okay, now, how many have been around someone with a great attitude? All of us. We've been around people who are magnetic and dynamic and you feel like you can conquer the world because working together works. A good attitude will move you all the way from duh to ah.
Mm-hmm.
But how many of us have been around toxic people?
Mm-hmm.
Who thought this up?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we going to do it this way? Toxicity runs through an organization, runs through a community, runs through a project. Cancel the pity party. Cancel negative attitudes and behaviors because 85% of the people don't care what you're going through and the other 15% are glad it's not them. So we need a new attitude. So I want you to give me the letter of the alphabet when I do this and I'll tell you what it means. It's rapid, it's energized, and I want you to give me the letter and I'll tell you we're going to go A to Z. Let's go. A. A is for your attitude, and that's going to determine your altitude, how high you're going to fly in this life.
B.
B is for brain power, and that's the best demonstration of who you are. C is for your courage to be strong in a time in which you may have not the motivation or the inclination to be inspired. D is for dedication to causes that are just, and E is for the effort that you have to put forth every day to be a superstar just to be considered average. F is for freedom that is not free. G is for the genius in each one of us. H is for our heritage, rich and pure. I is for intuition, to look beyond the obvious, because women are intuitive. Women are intuitive. Women have a sixth sense. You ask any woman in here, how do you know how to do that? And she's going to tell you, I don't know how I know how to do that, but I know that I know. How do you know? I don't know. I just know. Men understand team play. Men can argue at 8 o'clock, they can debate at 10 o'clock, and at 12 o'clock, those same two men having lunch together. Women,
oh, hell no.
it takes a little longer.
J.
J is for justice and the fact that you must fight every day to keep it colorblind. K is for know-how, to create and implement a master plan for our future. L is for life, and it is true, you only go around one time, and this is not a practice run. M is for meditation. Take time to get to know who you are. N is for now is the hour. O is for the opportunity to make a difference. P is for the promise that you hold for generations yet unborn. Q is for the questions that you must always be willing to ask. R is for the roots, for as a twig is bent, so shall it grow. S is for survival, and it really will be the survival of the swiftest. T is for the truth that you must be willing to tell. U is for the unity that we must achieve. V is for the vision. Never, 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 never lose sight of the top of the mountain. Hello? W is for the willpower to rise to the top of the crop. X is for X-ray, hold